Well, today we're in the shop. We're not out at the beehives, but we are going to work on something that is related to the beehives. I've said in previous videos that I was going to teach you how I built my heat boxes for the hives, and if you're so inclined to do so, you can follow along and build some hive heaters for yourself. Now, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos out there where folks have tried to build heater boxes, and some of them successful, others not so much. But none of them seemed really efficient to me. I've not used these, so I don't know, and I don't want to say anything bad about what other people have created, because somebody's going to come back and create something that's 1,000 times better than this, and that's okay. The goal is to just move the ball along, and that's what I intend on doing today. Some people worry that if you put heaters on beehives, it's going to make it so the bees aren't cold hardy and they're not going to survive the winter without heating boxes, and you're not going to get the toughest possible bees that you could get that could winter in any situation. Well, as a backyard beekeeper, that's not something that I'm worried about. It's not something that I'm concerned with. I just want to make sure that my hives are pretty. I want them to look good, and I want my bees to have a great place to live. So I'll keep it warm. I'm not going to keep it 80 degrees inside the hive in the winter time, but around 65, 70 degrees. Now I could turn it up to 80 degrees if I wanted to. This system is capable of doing that. But I keep it around 65 degrees, so the bees are moving kind of slowly, but they are wandering around the hive. They don't have to cluster, and I'm hoping that in the springtime, when the flowers start to bloom, I'll be able to go into spring with a large population of bees. I'll turn the heat up a little bit early spring, probably around February, and really start throwing the pollen patties to the hive and see if I can't get a big population of bees going into the spring so that they can take advantage of all the clover that blooms early, all the trees that bloom early, and boost my honey production. Don't know whether or not that's going to happen, but we'll see. But let's start with the components that you're going to need. I ordered all of this stuff off of Amazon, and it just arrived, so we'll take a look at all of the components that I used to build the heat boxes. You may choose to do something else, and then we will actually begin building these. This is probably going to be a 2 or 3 part series, because it takes a little bit of time to build one of these, and if I'm showing you every step of the way, it might take a little bit longer. Now, you can build them any way that you'd like. I'm going to build them like my Gen 2 hives. You can build them like my Gen 1, where the control units are inside and not visible from the outside of the box, but we'll see. So let's begin by looking at the components that you're going to need in order to build this. Alright, like I said, all of this came from Amazon, so this is stuff that you can readily get, and I'll put the prices down in the comments as well as the link to all the components. Let's begin here. First, you're going to need some fans. Now, the fans that I usually use weren't there, but these are just audio-video component cooling fans. These are 110. Now, you can do this in 12 volt, and my initial goal was to build these solar-powered 12 volt, and that would work fine for the cooling in the winter and the summertime. However, when you try to heat the boxes, the light bulbs are 110. To run them off of a 12 volt battery that would be charged by a solar panel would kind of be a pain in the butt. So I decided to go with a 110 volt system. I have run power down to my beehives. I'll plug them in. It's something that you'll need if you're going to do this. You're going to have power by the beehives. But if you're a backyard beekeeper like myself, you might even have these behind a garage or next to a garage. Or somewhere, in your backyard where you can run an extension cord, or you could just bury an extension cord. That's pretty much what I did. I've got it plugged into the outlet on the side of the house. I just dug a trench, buried the extension cord. Well, it's outdoor electrical cable, plenum cable, but it's similar to an extension cord. Ran them back to the beehives, and put some outlets up, and there we go. But you're going to need cooling fans. Now, in my previous hives, I have 2 cooling fans. This time, I think I'm going to put 4 cooling fans and see what happens. Just be Gen 3 for me, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out. These are relatively inexpensive. Again, they're audio-video cooling fans. They're going to be protected from the weather, so they don't have to be weatherproof. You're going to need some cable. You can connect the top box to the lower box with. The top box is where the cooling fans live. The bottom box is where the heating units live. Porcelain light bulb holder. You're going to need 2 of these. And here's how we heat the hives. Infrared. Infrared ceramic heating lights for reptiles. These put off no light, so the beehives remain dark. These are 50 watt. You can get them in 100 watt. You can get them in 25 watt, and you can actually get them a bit smaller. The ones that I have in the hives currently are 100 watt. I'm going to try to reduce my power consumption and go down to 50 watt. I think this will still work because they're going to stay on until the hive reaches the desired temperature, then they will shut off. So they'll cycle and keep the bees right where I want them to be. And here's the controller. It's made by Inkbird. I can show you one that I've got opened. Well, this is the one that I use for mock-up, but it's very easy to install. It's basically used for home brew or for reptile cages. This is made by Inkbird. It's very inexpensive. You can get these in 12 volt or 110. I'm using the again the 110 version, but if you want to try to build a solar paneled beehive heater, you can certainly do it. You're just going to have to find some place to store the power, because these lights are going to use quite a bit of power. And that's it. So for one hive or one heater box, you're going to need 2 of these. You're going to need 2 of these. You're going to need 2 of these. These are the power cables. 1 of these. This is just an ordinary home extension cord that I use. I cut the end of it off and run this to the input on these. And then you're going to need 2 light bulbs. I have spares. And then, of course, the muffin fans. And most importantly, you're going to need a medium super. Now, you can build your own. I prefer to buy these. I think I got these from Betterbee, and I bought the factory seconds. So you can get a pack of 5 medium supers for, I think it was $35, and then they ship it to you. And these work perfectly. Now, we can dress them up to make them look pretty when we're done. We'll put some stain on them. We'll finish them up, sand them the best that we can. But it saves a little bit of work, and all we have to do is mount our heater control units, and we're done. We're also going to put a bottom on it. That's something that it doesn't come with, but I'll show you how that works as well. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to begin by mounting the controller. We're going to place 2 controllers in the side of this box. We have to make sure that we leave room for the bottom. So I've got a template, and I'm going to use a router. Now, you don't have to use a router if you don't have one. You can use a drill and a hacksaw or whatever you need to use. Let me get a C-clamp. Put this on there so it does not move. Right. It's going to be for 1. Okay, there's 1. It's going to fit in there. It's going to be a little tight, but we'll clean that up with a chisel. Let's do the other side. Beautiful, beautiful. know what? Because this bit is dull, I'm just going to use the drill press. All right, let's saw this out. There's one. Woohoo! Perfect. Right. Now, blocks together. That's right. All right, so while the medium is drying, we can build the board that you mount the fans to. This is going to go on the bottom of the medium, so the controllers are going to sit above it, and this board is going to go on the bottom, and it's going to contain the fans and seal off the box where your control units are. Now, I've measured this. Your measurement may be different, but this will fit the inside of the medium super, and this is 12 1/4 by 18, and we'll call it 3/8 heavy. That's what we need. So let's get a fan out. I think I'm going to try 4 fans this time. So there's 2. And 4 may be overkill. You know what? I'm only going to use 2 fans. I think 4 is just too much. So what we want to do on this particular fan is I'm going to have to take off the legs. I think that will work. And let's see what we got here. High, medium, or low. Let's see how quiet these are. Very quiet. Can you hear that? Whisper quiet. They are running. Yeah, they're running. Very quiet. So, I think 3 inches in from the end will be fine. Right, so that is where they're going to go. Now let's center them on this side. I think 3.5. Oh, 3 3/4. 3 3/4. And 3/4. That is the winner. Oops. Alright, so that is where the fans are going to go. Right there and right there. So, sharper pencil. And for a moment we're going to take off the fan guard. One, and there's two. Right, put that back on. Save these with my bits, little rubber washers. The wife gets mad at me whenever I save these things, but I know that one day I'll find a use for them. Problem is, when I find a use for them, I won't be able to remember what I did with them. Isn't that the way it always goes? All right. So now, I've got to cut these circles out. We'll use the jigsaw for that after I drill some holes in it to start. Alright, so I've drilled some starter holes. Let's get the jigsaw. And again, follow safety guidelines. Don't do what I do, do what I say. My mother used to tell me that. There we go. Not the prettiest two holes in the world, but they'll work. All right, now this has to go inside the box. Let's see if the box is dry yet. Let's see. If we're dry enough to put the bottom in yet. That'll work. Okay, we're going to use some hardware cloth, and we're going to cover the bottoms of these holes here. We don't want any bees crawling up into the fans. And then our quiet fans would not be very quiet anymore. Stuff will cut you if you let it. Alrighty, now we'll just make it pretty. Alright. Beautiful. Now, let's move this box out of the way. We'll go ahead and get that screen fastened. Now, there's a million different ways to fasten the screen. I found that the best way that works for me is a stapler. Let's get our stapler out. There we go. Let's start here. And let's see. So I guess, now that I'm thinking about it, up front, I should have told you that you're also going to need hardware cloth. But this is just 1/8 inch hardware cloth, by the way. Bees can't fit through it. Same thing they use on screen bottom boards. You can pick it up at Tractor Supply, Ace Hardware, Amazon.com. They'll send you a roll of it. I also didn't tell you that you would need a stapler or glue. All right, so there we go. Now, when we mount the fans, we will have 1/4 inch of a gap between the fans and the hardware, well, 1/2 inch gap between the fans and the hardware cloth. And that's what we want. Now, let me see if I have any screws that are long enough to get through that. I think I'm going to need, I think sheetrock screws will work. Take a look. Alright, I think I found what I need. Note to the wife, the boneyard works. This is why I save things. All right, now I need 4 more screws. Three and 4. Voila. All right, we're in business. Perfect. Now each one of these controllers comes with a thermometer or heat sensor. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to drill a hole here and a hole here so that these are very close together. On my other designs, I've put one here and one here, and I get different readings on each one of the thermostats. And I think the solution to that and make sure that they're both reading the same is to take the temperature internally in the hive in the same location. And what a better place than the middle of the hive. The reason I had put it out here in the past is to avoid any air that was rushing up from the fans that would be cooling it. But you know what? I think this is I think that's the solution right there. Put them right in the middle. Now each one of these will come through the bottom, and I'll put a little hot glue around each one of them to hold them in place. This way I'll be able to get an accurate reading of the temperature inside the hive. Alright, so now we're getting close, and I just thought of something else that I haven't told you about. Something else you're going to need is going to be a power outlet, just a 110 power outlet. And I've got to go to the hardware store and buy one because I don't have any just laying around. But we are going to need that to complete this build. I think that's enough for today. See you next time.